when Willie was 6 years old. Willie lived in the country. The phone rang one day, and Willie picked it up, and Willie had a habit of just breathing into the phone. He heard his grandmother say, "Is that you, Willie?" "How'd you know, Grandma?" "I guessed." Willie, I want you to come over to my house, spend the night in Cambridge. First time, Willie." "Thank you, Grandma." Gave the phone to his mother. He was so excited, and Willie's mother talked a while, hung the phone up, and said, "That's your grandmother. She wants you overnight." "I never let you go overnight because you get in trouble." "I won't get in trouble." "I'll tell you this, Willie, your grandmother can be difficult late in the day. She can be a bit of a grump." "I won't get in trouble." "If there is any trouble, you won't go overnight for a year." "I won't get in trouble." "Pack your bag." Willie had won. He ran up to his room, opened his drawer. He got 6 T-shirts and a toothbrush and ran downstairs. He and his mother, they drove all the way to Cambridge, Massachusetts, and Willie loved Cambridge because all of the houses were squeezed together. They drove around Harvard University and down Trowbridge, and they took a left on Leonard Avenue. His grandmother had a triple-decker, number 9. They parked, and Willie got up, and he ran up the outside stairs. The way he got in was to push the first door, stepped in, and then you pressed a buzzer. Boo! You didn't get in until his grandmother pressed a buzzer. It made a click, opening the door. It was like magic. Click. Willie pushed the door, and Willie was standing at the bottom of the dark, narrow stairs, and they were filled with the smells of his grandmother's house. Willie loved it. He could have spent the whole weekend right here. But his grandmother said, "Come on, Willie." "Here I come, Grandma." He pulled himself up, and when he got to the top, she bent over, and he kissed her on those wrinkled, crinkled old cheeks. He loved the cheeks, but he never said anything about them. His grandmother said, "Willie, there's a prize for you in the guest room." "Thank you, Grandma." He ran up the 3rd floor and heard his mother. "You remember, Willie, don't worry, no trouble, Mama." He went into the guest room. He saw what his grandmother had done. She had done something wonderful. She had pasted 6 silver stars to the ceiling. And there was the prize. He sat down, and the prize was 2 pieces of orange paper and small scissors, a little bottle of glue, and a sharp pencil. Willie took the orange paper and the little scissors, and he cut 2 orange circles, and then he put paste on the orange circles, and he pasted the orange circles to his cheeks. Now he had orange cheeks. He went to the window then. His mother was driving away. "Goodbye, Mama." Willie ran downstairs, and his grandma said, "Willie, look at you. That's wonderful. Now, Willie, we are going to have tea in the dining room, but first I'm going to hang the wash out, and you're going to do an errand." Willie looked up. He'd never done an errand. "Mr. Murchison, right next door, the fruit man. Here's $1 bill. You get 4 pounds of bananas." Willie had never done an errand in the city. He was so excited. Willie went down the dark, narrow stairs, filled with wonderful smells, out on the brick sidewalk, and he went right next door, and there was the old-fashioned fruit store. He stepped in, and it was very dark like the old-fashioned stores, and the floor was wooden and oiled, and there was Mr. Murchison, the fruit man. He was holding the bananas, and he was curved like the bananas. "Nice to see you, Willie." "Nice to see you." "I got the bananas here, 4 pounds. "I don't want those." "Ha! What's the trouble?" "They're rotten." "Oh, no, Willie. This is the way to eat them, ripe." "I want the yellow ones." Someday you'll know better." "I think I know better now." "I like your cheeks." "I like your cheeks, too." Willie ran to the backyard, and his grandmother was hanging out the wash, and she saw Willie. "Good for you, Willie. Look at the bananas. You're a businessman." "Willie, we'll have tea in the dining room, but I'm going to finish the wash. You play." Willie had done so well, he thought he was a businessman. And to him, a businessman is someone who made pencil marks on the walls. They were secret, but they were real. Willie started going around with the sharp pencil, making little pencil marks, and he decided to put 1 pencil mark in the dining room. No one would ever know. So Willie, he pushed the chair against the white wall and stood up on the chair, and Willie made a little pencil mark, and then he heard something, and he turned, "Grandma?" And when he turned, he made a pencil mark that was 4 feet long. No, he couldn't come for a year, so he tried to erase it. It made it go all over the wall. So he spat on his hand and tried to erase it, made it go everywhere. Willie didn't know what to do. And so Willie jumped off, and he looked out the window, and his grandmother was just finishing hanging the wash. He had to do something. He opened the drawer, and there was a hammer and 2 big nails. Willie took the hammer and the big nails, ran in the dining room, and he tore the dining room cloth off the table. Then he stood up on the chair, and he nailed the dining room cloth to the wall. You couldn't see the scratch, but you could see the dining room cloth. Willie went into the kitchen. His grandmother came up, and she made the tea and said, "All right, Willie, we're going to go in the dining room and have tea. That's the treat. You bring the cookies. Let's have the tea here." We always have in the dining room. Come on. She went in. Willie didn't. She went right over and said, "Willie, the dining room cloth's not on the table." "Willie, the dining room cloth is nailed to the wall." She looked over at Willie, and Willie said, "Which wall?" "Oh, come in here." She put the tray down. Willie came in. "Oh, that wall. I nailed it to that wall." And all of a sudden, Willie was shaking so badly. The tears were pouring down onto the paper orange cheeks, and he was rubbing them, and they were shredding. And she knelt down and held him. "Don't do that, Willie." She started to cry, and her tears were going all over the paper cheeks. She finally said, "Willie, look at the two of us. This is absurd, Willie." She stood up. "Willie, it's fine." "Not fine." "Willie, it is fine." "It's not fine. Can't come for a year." "Willie, it is perfectly fine." "No, it's not. Mummy said late in the day you're a grump." Well, I'll tell you this, your mother's no prize either. She sat him down. She said, "How many sugars?" "5, 1. Soon as Willie drank the tea, you could see his whole body calming down. She said, "Now you watch your grandmother." Grandmother took the hammer, went right to the wall, pulled the nails out, put the cloth on the dining room table. She said, "Now I don't have time to sew the holes, but your mother won't see them. I'll cover them for tomorrow. I'll put a bowl of fruit over one of the nail holes, and I'll put some flowers. She won't see the nail holes. Now you watch." She got some putty, put it into the nail holes, and scratched it off, and the two of them painted the scratch mark, and in 3 hours the scratch mark was gone. "See, your mother won't know." "She'll know. She's my daughter, she won't know. She's my mother, she'll know." Next day they wouldn't leave until they had tea, and Willie watched his mother come up the dark, narrow stairs, and the three of them sat in the dining room. And they had tea, and Willie was quiet as long as he could be. Finally looked at his mother and said, "Don't pick the bowl of fruit up." She said, "Why would I do that?" "I don't know." Willie kept staring at the wall where the scratch mark had been, and finally his mother said, "What are you looking at?" "I'm looking at the wall." And his mother said there was trouble here, just like I said. "What was the trouble?" "Grandma, tell the trouble." His grandmother said there was trouble. The trouble was we didn't have enough time together. "Is that what you mean, Willie?" "Yeah, that's what I mean." 2 minutes later, they were at the top of the stairs, and Willie's grandmother bent over, and he kissed her on those wrinkled, crinkled cheeks. Willie and his mother went down. It was a secret between Willie and his grandmother. They went down the dark, narrow stairs, filled with the wonderful smells, and Willie and his mother drove all the way home. When they got home, Willie ran up to his room, unzipped his bag, and he took out the orange paper, and he cut 2 orange circles and put them in an envelope, and he wrote a note. "Dear Grandma, here's orange cheeks for you. Love, Willie."